All right, welcome back to Blue Collar Homestead. Today we are going to do something, a little project with this gate. Problem with this gate is, you can see, you got this chain here. We're going to make a lock that I'm going to weld on here, and it'll go into there. That way it's easier to open and close. We'll make it out of like a couple of horseshoes I got laying around and whatnot. I'll be able to get rid of this chain. So I'm going to go inside the garage here. We're going to get all of our stuff together. We're going to weld together a lock out of just a bunch of scraps I got laying around and a couple of horseshoes probably. So let me go inside, get everything set up, and we'll get to it. All right, so I think, and I got a bunch of horseshoes laying around. I got like this one here. I got these little guys. I think we're going to go with this one. We're going to go with this one. We're going to use this. We use a piece of rebar. I believe this is 3/8 rebar. We're going to use this. This was actually for for one of those flagpoles. It was like 20 bucks. You shove this in the ground, put the flagpole in there. Well, flagpole's long gone, but I still have this. What we're going to do, I think, is we're going to cut the welds off of this, get rid of this tube. We're going to use this. What I'm going to do with this piece of angle iron is I'm going to weld everything on here. Then I'm going to take this and put it over the fence rail and weld it on. So we're going to use that. And we're going to use some of these. These are some 1/2-inch nuts like that. And basically what's going to happen is, well, that won't slide through there now, but this will fit through here. It's just right now it's got a burr on the end of it, but what'll happen is this will get welded to that piece of angle iron. The rebar will slide back and forth through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut all this stuff up and get it all figured out. First I got to set everything up. I know I haven't showed everybody the shop garage tour, whatever you want to call it, since I built this place, but you can kind of see everything's set up. There's a shelf going all the way around here, but the best part is all of my welding stuff. I got, that is a titanium flux core welder from Harbor Freight. I got the arc welder down there. I got my compressor up here, you know, with the regulator up there. So yeah, that's all set up too. Now when I put that together, obviously the arc welder is on wheels so it can roll out. And then of course I put everything right by the door. That way if I want to weld anything, it'll probably most likely be outside. At some point, I got to go pick up my Mustang and put it back in this garage. That's kind of what this was built for. So for now, what we're going to do is I'm going to get this horse. You can see it's got the bench grinder on it and the vise. I'm going to bring that over by the door. I'm going to get out the grinder, extension cords, my gloves, my helmet, all that stuff, and we're going to get to it. All right, first thing we got to do, well, you see I cut that pipe off of here. Now, obviously, you need to make sure everything is clean. Otherwise, your welds aren't going to stick that good. Now, keep in mind, I am not a professional welder, not even close. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to weld these onto here. Now, I'm going to put one there. There's going to be one somewhere down here. Then there's going to be another one. Two of them spaced out like that, and I'm going to have to weld something across there. That way I could put a lock on here. That way you won't be able to slide this back and forth. Once I get those welded on there and get the slide piece in there, you'll see what I'm talking about. But let me set the camera down, get my welding mask on and my gloves. We're going to clamp these in place. We're going to weld those on, and then we'll, we'll figure out where everything else is going to land. So let's get to it. All right, you can see what I'm doing here, using this magnet to hold that in place. So I'm going to run a weld right here. Then I'm going to remove the magnet, weld the other side. Then I got to figure out where I'm going to weld the other one. So that's going to take a little bit of mathing to do. So let me set the camera down, get my mask, and we're going to get welded. There we go. That might be the spot to hit. Yeah, this is all going to get cleaned up later with the grinder. Yeah, see, I'm going to have to run the drill bit through there. What happened is I think the weld got a little bit strong, got inside there and clogged up a hole a little bit so this doesn't slide as easy. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to run the drill through this and clean it up. So let's do that. There we go. That's better. Still have to clean it out a little bit more. Yeah, you can slide back and forth. So what I got to do now is I'm gonna cut these off and make them kind of flat. I'll weld that to here, and then I'll figure it. I'll mark it here with a Sharpie. I'll flip it over here and mark with a Sharpie, and then I'll put a little piece in there that'll prevent this from sliding back and forth when you don't want it to. So that's how that's going to go. And then at some point I'm going to add another nut down here so I can put a padlock on this in case I don't want it open or I want to lock it to be able to lock it. So let me cut this guy up flat where I need it, and then we'll get back to you and we'll weld that on. We'll weld this other nut on, and then I'll probably end up cutting this off and shortening it a little bit, but by the time this is done, it should be really cool. So give me a second. Let me get the horseshoes in order, and then we'll come right back. Let me grab my helmet. We're going to put this ground clamp back on here. Put that back on there. Grab my helmet, and we're going to do this. All right. This little guy is going to sit right there. Let's see how it goes. That's gonna be perfect. You know what? I thought this looked a little dark. I still have my sunglasses on. Man, why does it look so dark? Now I know why. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So now you see I can slide a padlock in here, and this guy won't be able to move. So now we're going to cut this off with the grinder, and then got to figure out where I'm going to weld that little peg that's got to go in here. I'm going to grab the grinder. We're going to cut that off real quick. Of course, I got to switch back to my sunglasses again because for whatever reason the welding mask freaks out when you start the grinder for some reason, but whatever. That is that. Now, I like the way that came out. I think that's going to be all right. That's going to be okay. So, next we got to weld this guy in here, and then I'll cut that off. But let me grab a Sharpie real quick so I can mark where I want to do this. I want to clean that up a little bit. We're going to weld right there. Now, we're going to get ready to mount this thing to the gate. So, this is what we come up with. I'm just going to get this camera flipped around and show you how we prep the gate. Well, I'll kind of give you a bird's eye view real quick. But yeah, I had to take the grinder with a wire wheel, clean off all the paint. We're going to set this guy on there and weld it in place. And then after it's welded in place, of course, then we'll definitely have to drill a hole in this 4x4 because that's where this end is going to go. So let me set the camera down, get it flipped around, and we'll get to welding this thing on, and then we'll see how it goes. We're about to get started. We're going to weld this guy on right here
And what I did do is I turned the power on the welder all the way down, because this is like a thin tubing, and I don't know how much power is going to be too much. If you put too much and burn a hole in it, it's just a freaking nightmare. So might as well start at the bottom and work my way up. So this will be a learning experience for everybody watching, because I don't know how much this is going to need. So what I'm going to do is put my ground clamp on there. I got to turn the welder on. Probably should have done that already. All right, the welder is on. I'm going to grab the gun. And I'm just going to tack this in a couple spots to see how it does. And then I might have to mess with the settings on the welder. We'll see. But that looks like the spot where it needs to be, right there. So let's do it. Well, it actually looks like it might be a good setting for this. I might have to go a little bit hotter. A little bit hotter. Let's see how that does. Yep, I like that better. Yeah, I like that a little better. So we're going to weld it on with that. Going to weld across here, weld across the bottom, and then we'll have to drill a hole in the 4x4. Let's get this welded. All right, now you can see what's going on there. This guy does that. It's got this sticking out the end. That'll go into that 4x4 post. And I slide this back that way. That's open, but obviously when it's shut, I can, oh, of course I drop it on the ground. Hold on a second. When it's completely shut, this little guy here where I welded it in, I can put that on there, or a padlock, and it won't open. So if I want to put a padlock to lock this gate, I can. Now you can see I got the screen peeled back. This is mainly just to keep my chickens in, but what we're going to do now is put that over there. We're going to back this up. Now you can see down here I got this pressure treated chunk of 4x4 screwed in here. The fence actually sits on, the gate actually sits on top of that. So that's going to sit there like that. Now you can see what I'm going to do. As you can see where that is, I'm going to take this, I'm going to tap this with a hammer, and that's going to put a dent right there. And that's going to show me where exactly I need to drill the hole. So we're going to go like that. All right, oh, now I can drill the hole. So I'm not going to go all the way through, but see how far I need to go. You never know, I might end up having to shorten this. I don't know. We're going to see. I got to go a little deeper. Probably a little bigger too. All right, let's set that there. And that's that. All I got to do is I got to make that hole a little bit bigger though. It's still too tight. Probably run a paddle bit through there. And then I got my clip that can go here, but I'm going to spray paint this whole thing black. So you kind of see what's going on there. So like I said, I mean, I am by no means a professional welder. I mean, it's not horrible. This is real thin tubing, so you got to be careful not to burn a hole in it like I did, but luckily I was able to plug it. So that's going to be about it. I'm going to spray paint this thing black, flat black, just so it doesn't rust. So I think that's going to wrap up this video on how to make a horseshoe lock for your farm gate. So like, subscribe, and share, and I will see you on the next one.